The January transfer window is wide open, with Chelsea laying down an early marker by splashing out on Christian Pulisic. But let's go back to the summer, where every Premier League club, bar Spurs, had a busy transfer window. We've passed the halfway stage, so let's look at how every Premier League club's summer signings are doing so far and give them a rating out of 10. Like most teams, Arsenal's summer signings has been a bit of a mixed bag, although there's been more good than bad, which is certainly an improvement for the Gunners. Lucas Torreira has been the standout signing, bringing something to Arsenal's midfield that's been missing for years, while Matteo Guendouzi clearly has a lot of potential. Then on the flip side, you've got Sokratis and Leno who've both blown hot and cold, while Stefan Lichtstein has brought the shithouse to the Premier League. Overall though, the new signings have been promising, so Arsenal get a 7.5 out of 10. Next it's Bournemouth, and all three of their signings have brought something different. David Brooks has settled into Premier League life with ease, Jefferson Lerma is a yellow card machine, while Diego Rico has hardly taken a life at Dean Court so far. Just like Arsenal, it's a mixed bag, a just slightly less impressive one, so Bournemouth get a 7 out of 10. Brighton had a busy summer, signing 16 new players, all with varying degrees of success. Bernardo has probably been the pick of the bunch, but the likes of Andoni and Montoya have also impressed in patches. However, their record signing hasn't hit the heights that were expected, and Brighton's success has been more down to the players they already have. However, out of the new signings they've actually played, the majority have done okay, so Brighton get a 6.5 out of 10. Next we've got Burnley, whose summer signings have been a little bit of a disaster, and there weren't many of them to begin with. Joe Hart is certainly better than he was at West Ham, but that's not saying much, the bloke is still struggling. Then you've got Matej Vydra and Ben Gibson, who've shown nothing to prove they were worth stepping back up from the Championship to the Premier League. If things stay the same, they could be back in the Championship with their new employers. It's a 2.5 out of 10 for Burnley. Down to Wales we go with Cardiff, who are doing much better in the Premier League than expected, but that isn't really down to their summer signings. Victor Camarasa has been the star, but the likes of Bobby Reid and Josh Murphy have struggled stepping up to the Premier League. As for Harry Arter, he's been pure Harry Arter since arriving. We're giving Cardiff summer signings a 5 out of 10. Chelsea's summer saw them sign the most expensive goalkeeper ever in Kepa, and the young stoppers had a solid enough start to life at Stamford Bridge, along with his fellow signings. Kovacic is another solid option in the middle of the park, but the real star has been Jorginho, the heartbeat of what fans call Sarri ball. No one in blue is disappointed since arriving in the summer, not even Rob Green, although he hasn't played. It's an 8 out of 10 for Sarri's signings. Crystal Palace didn't do a lot of business, with their big signing being Max Meyer on a free, and some have dubbed him the German Johnny Williams. But I suppose he hasn't had too many chances in fairness. I let my feelings be known on Jordan Ayew the other day in the worst signings video, while Koyate is as inconsistent as ever. But at least the new goalkeeper is doing okay. Overall though, it's not great, so it's a 4 out of 10 for Palace. Next it's Everton, and my words were they busy over the summer, and my word if their signings impressed. Richarlison shook off his hefty price tag immediately, while Andre Gomes is like a Rolls Royce in the middle of the park. Bernard has shown flashes of his brilliance, while Yerry Mina has yet to fully find his feet at Goodison Park. Then you've got Lucas Dean, who's an almost perfect modern day fullback, complete with the odd defensive lapse at the back. Overall though, a brilliant summer for Everton, who are still slightly struggling despite all the investment. Alas, we'll give their signings a 9 out of 10. Another side who were extremely busy in the summer were Fulham, and we were all suckered into believing that they'd done brilliant business, yet here we are in January and they're in a relegation battle. While getting Mitrovic in has been key, the likes of Zambo Anguissa, Vieto, Mawson, and to some extent Schürrle haven't set the world alight and have rather stunk out Craven Cottage. There's room for improvement, it's a 3 out of 10 for Fulham. Huddersfield needed attacking reinforcements in the summer, and I suppose they did sort of try at least. However, Sobi, Diakabi, Nor and Benzer have done nothing to help the Terriers out offensively, leaving them with a huge job to survive. In a more positive light, Terence Congolo has been strong at the back and the pick of Huddersfield's summer signings. Overall it's been a disappointment though, and they get a 4 out of 10. Next it's Leicester City, who completed one of the deals of the summer by signing James Maddison. On top of that, Johnny Evans is solid at the back, while Ricardo Pereira is a dream for a fantasy football player. Kagla Sayonko hasn't really had too many chances to impress, but Benkovic is doing brilliantly up at Celtic on loan, so the only real disappointment has been Rashid Ghazal. So in the grand scheme of things, it was a strong summer for Leicester, who are going to get a 7.5 out of 10. Initially it didn't look like Liverpool's signings were all that good, other than Alisson, whose goalkeeping escapades have won the Reds multiple points already. but Navigator and Fabinho weren't performing, while Shaqiri was just a bench warmer. Fast forward a few months and suddenly Fabinho is key at the heart of Liverpool's midfield, while Shaqiri is adding an extra dimension to their attack, taking the pressure off the incredible front three at Anfield. Keita has shown bits of his talent, but the best is yet to come from him. Overall, Liverpool get a 9 out of 10. Next we've got their title rivals Manchester City, whose summer consisted of finally signing Riyad Mahrez, plus some young players who haven't played at all. Focusing on Mahrez, the Algerian has played more than I imagined he would, and he's actually doing great at the Etihad, proving that he can perform in a bigger pond than Leicester. Things would be even better for him had he sunk that penalty away to Liverpool, but it went over the bar, so overall we're going to give Man City an 8 out of 10. Their rivals Manchester United needed a centre back, but they didn't get that, instead signing Fred, Diego Dalot and Lee Grant. Have any of them shone? Not really. Grant is a backup, Dalot has only just started to play and in fairness has done okay, while Fred has been a massive waste of money and the final flop of the Jose Mourinho era. We're going to give the Red Devils a 3 out of 10. Newcastle spent another summer scraping around the bargain bin, but once again Rafa Benitez mainly pulled it out of the bag with some amazing signings. Dubravka was a bargain, Fernandes is already a key player, Kane and Shaw have been useful, and Rondon has led the line perfectly. The only negatives have been Kennedy, who's been pretty useless, and Muto, who hasn't had many chances. Overall though, it turned out to be a somewhat successful window despite the financial limitations, so Rafa Benitez gets a 7 out of 10. Other than Danny Ings, Southampton signings have been pretty much a disaster, bar a couple of wonder goals from Stuart Armstrong. Vestergaard is atrocious, while Elyounoussi isn't coping in the Premier League. So Hasenhüttl has a serious job on his hands if he's going to sort their lack of form out. But at least Danny Ings has scored a few, I suppose. It's a 3.5 out of 10 for Southampton. Tottenham signed nobody in the summer, therefore they are meaningless in this video, so let's just move on to Watford. The Hornets didn't do any major business over the summer, but they did bring back Ben Foster, who's continued to roll back the years in between the sticks. As for Gerard Deulofeu, he's been his usual self, amazing one week, pants the next, which is par for the course really. The rest of their signings haven't actually been afforded too many opportunities, although Domingos Quina scored a banger the other week, and Ken Sema scored his first against Bournemouth the other night. Overall it's a 5.5 out of 10 for Watford. West Ham did some serious business over the summer, breaking their transfer record twice on Issa Diop and then Felipe Anderson, and both players have proved to be worth their hefty investment. Meanwhile, Fabianski and Balbuena were astute buys, but it hasn't all been plain sailing. Jack Wilshere has been amazingly struck down by injury, while it was no shock to see Carlos Sanchez play so badly. Yarmolenko impressed before he got himself injured, but overall it was a successful summer, so the Hammers get a 7.5 out of 10. And finally we've got Wolves, who made some amazing signings, including Euro 2016 winners Rui Patricio and João Moutinho, who unsurprisingly have been brilliant. Johnny at left wing back has been great, while Raul Jimenez has been really impressive up front, scoring key goals and getting the best out of the players around him. However, then you come to Adama Traore, who is still just a pace merchant, and Leander Dendoncker, who seems a million miles away from the player he was tipped to be. However, the good outweighs the bad, so it's an 8.5 out of 10 for Wolves. So that's every Premier League club's summer signings rated for their performances so far. Let us know your ratings in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.